We're just 1 week out from the Iowa caucuses. The Democratic race is as tight as can be. Senator Bernie Sanders leads Hillary Clinton by just 1 point, 47 to 46%. At a rally today, Senator Sanders compared his campaign to President Obama's successful White House run back in 2008. Listen.
There are statements being made that Bernie Sanders lacks experience, that I am naive, that my ideas are pie in the sky, that they just can't happen. Well, you in Iowa have heard that set of arguments about 8 years ago. They were made against Barack Obama. They were not accurate then. They are not accurate today.
Well, then I asked CBS News senior political editor Steve Chaggaris about Sanders' outlook in Iowa. Take a listen to that.
It's going to be interesting to see how Sanders does next Monday. I mean, the landscape is completely different. There was really a three-person race in 2008 between Obama, John Edwards, who everybody forgets about, and Hillary Clinton. And you know, I just think that Barack Obama was a different kind of candidate in 2008. He was sort of this inspirational figure. A lot of people were comparing him to JFK. I think his appeal crossed many demographics, not only race but age. And you look at somebody like Bernie Sanders, and while he is putting up a really strong fight against Hillary Clinton, it'll be interesting to see what kind of turnout he gets, because he's really sort of attracted, you know, a slice of the Democratic Party right now. You've got a lot of young people who are backing him. You got very liberal Democrats who are backing him. Two demographics which play well in Iowa and New Hampshire, but moving forward after Iowa and New Hampshire, it's hard to see where Bernie Sanders continues any kind of momentum he gets in the first two states. With Barack Obama, it was a little bit different. You could see how he turned an Iowa victory into real momentum.
Steve, explain for our viewers sort of the yin and the yang and the push and the pull of Hillary Clinton. And on one hand, you've got her supporters who really like her, and people who really support her, and a lot of people obviously know her because she's been in the public eye for so long. On the other hand, she has very high unfavorable. So how does that work?
Well, the unfavorables, I think, are weighing her down, obviously. I think the other thing that's going on here is, you know, the fear that her campaign had of this looking like a coronation. She didn't really have any, at least at the outset, any real competition that anybody sort of suggested would be real competition. It turns out that Bernie Sanders has tapped in to a part of the Democratic Party that wanted to see some competition, at least on issues such as income inequality, Wall Street reform, and those types of things. And so it was really up to her campaign to figure out how to make, or how to keep enthusiasm going. She announced in April, if you remember, and the first voting isn't until February. So how does she keep enthusiasm among her supporters over those months? And what you've seen over the last several months is the enthusiasm really has gone to Bernie Sanders. Barack Obama said this in an interview to Politico, which I thought was really interesting. He said he's the bright, shiny object that people haven't seen before. And there's always going to be, especially when you're dealing with somebody like Hillary Clinton, who's been on the scene for over 2 decades, there's going to be people that are attracted to that bright, shiny object. And I think that's what you're seeing right now in the polls in Iowa and New Hampshire.
Yeah, Steve, you mentioned that Politico podcast that President Obama did. Let's play a little bit of that.
I think Hillary came in with the both privilege and burden of being perceived as the front runner, and you know, you're always looking at the bright, shiny object that people haven't seen before. That's a disadvantage to her.
So when he was pressed on whether Bernie reminded the president of himself back in 2008, he quickly pushed back and said no.
Right, and I think that's for a lot of reasons, as I mentioned earlier. I think that, you know, broadly, Bernie Sanders doesn't have that kind of appeal that somebody like Barack Obama did. Again, you know, this is a guy, remember, Barack Obama came onto the scene, he was talking about hope and change and how he was going to come in and change Washington, but also was this sort of inspirational young figure idea of what the future of the Democratic Party should look like. Bernie Sanders is 74 years old. He's a self-described socialist. I think there are a lot of things, obviously, that he's saying that are appealing to people in the Democratic Party. especially liberal Democrats who want to hear more about what these candidates can do about the economy and how to make economic equality, to make college affordable, to deal with Wall Street reform. And those are things that really sort of hammer against Hillary Clinton and the things she stands for. I mean, the one big applause line for Sanders is Hillary Clinton's taking money from Wall Street, and she's in the back pocket of Wall Street and Goldman Sachs and large banks like that. And that doesn't play well for her among liberal voters. And so there is a big difference, I think, between Sanders and Obama. And again, it goes to where does Bernie Sanders go if he does well in Iowa and New Hampshire? It was obvious in states like South Carolina and southern states that Barack Obama could build upon Iowa and New Hampshire. It's not obvious in Bernie Sanders' case, as his support is very, very narrow in terms of the demographics that are supporting him.